Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And before I get started in describing myself today, my previous guest was not able to make it. It wasn't that they just flaked out. It was that they had something important come up. So thank you to the crowd for finding me a new guest, in particular, Erica Brown from the Refugee Development Center. I appreciate you very much. So today on the show, for the show, I'm sitting in the sanctuary. Of course, the plants are always on. All of this art is here. We've had a pretty busy day here at the Fledge, so it's been a great day. And I'm going to bring somebody on the show today that was in the Lansing State Journal yesterday. I'm going to share this article. And I'm really hoping that you guys can pay attention to this and check this out, because this is a very important cause. So I'll bring my guest on. How you doing? It's our new friend, Ariel. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Jerry. And thank you for this opportunity. I do appreciate it.
I really appreciate you coming on at the last minute like this. It really, we've done this show 237 days in a row without missing. So having a guest that can come in at the last minute, I really appreciate it.
Of course.
So, I've read about your story. I've talked to Erica from the Refugee Development Center a little bit about you. And so I know some things, but I'd really like to tell the crowd about you before we talk about the work that you do and your mother and all of that. So would you mind telling us where you are born and raised and what brought you to Lansing?
Sure. Well, as you said, my name is Ariel Rodriguez Pena. I am from Cuba, and I came to the United States 14 years ago. And I came to the U.S. as part of the lottery, the immigration lottery for Cubans to come to the United States. Back in Cuba, I went to college to be a teacher, and I got my first degree in 1997. Wow, that sounds a long time ago. But I got my first degree to be an ESL teacher, actually, in 1997, teaching English as a second language. And as a lifelong learner, I went back and got a second degree then to teach Spanish, which is my native language, but I wanted to know how to teach that to non-Spanish speakers. And I got my second degree. I had the privilege to work in the same university where I graduated from. And, I did my master's degree also in education and technology and foreign language acquisition. And in 2002, Cuba started a new program for a new university in Havana. So I was selected to go and be part of that project. It is today the University of Information Sciences in Cuba. And I had to move to Havana to be part of that project because I am from Holguin, which is more on the east side of the country. So I went to Havana and I was part of that project at that time. I stayed there for about 5 years. The university at that time was basically led by the government in Cuba and by the president of the country at that time, Fidel Castro. So we were meeting with the president of the country every other week, go over the progress that we were making towards that new project. it was an amazing project. I love education. That's what I've been doing my whole life. And it was again an amazing project, but things at one point turned a little bit too political for me. And as a teacher from heart, if I don't feel things, I cannot teach those kind of things. And it was getting into a very difficult situation. So I applied for the immigration lottery to come to the United States, and I was one of the lucky ones to get selected. And I did all of the paperwork and the process required to come to the United States. Um, I cannot lie. It was a very difficult decision to leave my entire professional career behind. My family, of course, behind my entire family, because I came here by myself. And when I had to make that final tough decision about getting your tickets and getting on a plane and coming to the US, I was just 40 days away from doing my dissertation for my PhD. But if I didn't do it at that right time, then my visa would expire. So I had to make that decision because I felt that it's a great opportunity for me to come to the United States and then explore what this country could be for me and my family.
So,
I
so
arrived.
I want to ask you something real quick. The American perception of Cuba, I'm sure it's distorted from news stories and movies and all of this. I think that sometimes people in America think that every other country is backwards.
Mhm.
But one thing, like that kid was Ilian.
Elian Gonzalez.
Yes. Like everybody saw these stories and all of that.
Mhm.
But, one thing I learned this year is that Cuba was working on their own vaccination.
Mhm.
They have a great education and science system, I think,
Mhm.
right?
They do education in Cuba, and I can testify to this just because I have traveled to many, many different countries and I have explored many different educational systems around the world. Not only in Cuba, in the United States, in the Dominican Republic, in Venezuela, in China, in Mexico, so in quite a few countries already. And I can assure you that the educational system in Cuba is high um, quality. It's
Yeah.
the world. Uh, Same with the health system in Cuba. However, there are many, many limitations caused by many internal issues, or the so-called embargo. And I don't want to get too political on
Yeah.
that. Yeah, but you might be surprised to go into a school in Cuba and find the best teacher in the world, but that best teacher in the world doesn't have supplies in the classroom.
Mm.
That's very, very common. Or you may go into a hospital where you're going to find the best, highly qualified doctors and nurses and technicians, but they might not have soap to wash their hands. So that's exactly a reality. That's a reality. It's very unfortunate that it happens that way, but that's exactly what it is.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I'm sorry I interrupted you. I think you were starting to talk about when you came to Lansing.
Okay.
Um, but I just
So
wanted to put that out there for everybody.
yes, no,
Yes, thank you.
anytime,
Thank you.
anytime, Jerry.
All right.
So I came to the United States back in 2007, and as every single Cuban who comes to the U.S., the entry port for us is Miami International Airport. And I arrived in this country on March 27th, 2007. I had to stay in Miami for about a week, to complete all the paperwork as a newcomer into this country, all the immigration paperwork. And I have a couple of friends in Miami and, also a cousin who they were kind of trying to convince me to stay in the Miami area. and they were taking me everywhere. And you are going through this honeymoon phase when you're new
Mm.
country, and you are just amazed but so many beautiful things, especially Miami. It's a tourist resort basically.
Yeah.
And but the city was a little bit too crazy for my like. I am more kind of like a shy type of person, or I am not that kind of person that likes to go out every single day, or those kind of things. And I told my cousin and my friends, I think I want to try something else and see how that goes for me. If there is a need, then I will come back to you. But I want to be independent also. I want to try it on my own and see what happens. So through the immigration program, I was offered the opportunity to resettle in two different cities: Albuquerque in New Mexico and Lansing in Michigan. Lansing is one of the cities that resettled, a lot of refugees and immigrants for all over the world for many years. Then my cousin, who is actually, he was actually a former resident of Lansing when he
Mm.
from Cuba, was like, well, if you don't really want to stay here with us, then go to Lansing, because I can tell you a couple of things about Lansing. And Lansing is a wonderful community, and you're going to build your own support system right there. And I can teach you a little bit about Lansing, but I don't know anything about Albuquerque. So you better go to Lansing. So I did, and I can't complain about my decision. I couldn't be happier than making that decision. I arrived in Lansing in April the 4th, 2007. My case manager, who is still a wonderful friend of mine, Martika Zamora, if you're watching, I love you, and I will be grateful for you, to you every single day of my life for everything that you did for me. She was a case manager at St. Vincent Catholic Charities, and she was the one assigned to me. And she picked me up at the airport and brought me to my apartment. Um, and then she was taking me to doctor's appointments. When you get here, you have to go through all kind of physical exams and all of that. So, as part of the requirements for a newcomer to get the assistance from the government, like food stamps,
Yeah.
cash assistance, and Medicaid, you actually have to be in educational programs, which is an amazing thing, right? And I had to take ESL classes at St. Vincent Catholic Charities. Even though I knew the language when I came here, I was there. And as soon as I started my ESL classes, my amazing, outstanding teacher, Linda Brown, Erica's mom, actually, I also love with all my heart, was like, okay, you need to be helping me here in this class. It was oversized. The class was oversized, and a lot of Cubans were in that class at that time. So my teacher again asked me, "Are you okay with being kind of my intern here in the classroom and just helping me with other students and working one-on-one, individual, or in a small group?" And I'd love to do that. So I was not only attending, that class as one of the requirements, I was also attending other sessions because I wanted to volunteer and help in the class. So my teacher was going on a vacation, and the director of St. Vincent at that time talked to me, Mary Flores, and said, "Hey, Ariel, are you comfortable just teaching this class, for a week while Linda is on vacation, and see how that goes for you? It will be as a volunteer because I didn't have an employment authorization by then yet." And I was like, "I'd love to do it. I'd just love to do that." And so I did. And one of the days, there was a meeting at St. Vincent. The Refugee Development Center former director, Vincent El, he was actually leading the center, and Shireen camping teams was taking over uh, the center. And Mr. Keck from the bilingual department, they came to the meeting with St. Vincent, and they were promoting a summer camp for bilingual students in the Lansing school district. And it was an amazing program, and they just came to my classroom and they talked to me for a little bit, and then they asked me, would you be interested in being part of this summer camp for middle school and high school students in the Lansing area? And anything that has to do with education, people don't need to ask me. Say yes right away. And so I did, and I came to the Refugee Development Center that was at that time housed inside Christ Lutheran Church in Lansing. And I had the tour of the center. I went through the interviewing process, and Vincent and Shuring were like, and Sergio, no, you are the guy. You need to run this camp. And I did, because then I got my employment authorization immediately, and I started working at the Refugee Development Center in July 2007 with this summer camp that we still do every year with the Refugee Development Center. It's the Globe Camp right now, gaining learning opportunities through better English. And it is an amazing program for youth in the Lansing School District that the RDC still does. And, I started my life as an employee at the center, and I continue to volunteer through St. Vincent as well. And then another grant came to the RDC, and I was hired to be there full-time as a youth director. So I was working with the Lansing School District in after-school programs at Eastern High School, Pettingill Middle School, and Riddle Elementary at that time. And I had the amazing opportunity to build the ESL program for adults at the RDC. The RDC is just a happy place for everybody, and they offer so many programs. And at that time, we are getting programs just off the ground. We were redesigning the entire youth program, the ESL adult classes, and I had the privilege to be leading that program for many, many years at the RDC. So then after the RDC, I was in the middle of trying to get my credentials evaluated here in the United States, and I went back to school, and there was an opportunity to become a bilingual assistant for the Lansing School District, and I started actually at Gardner Middle School as a bilingual assistant there, and then I was transferred to Eastern High School. And once I had my certification as a teacher, I was hired to work at Eastern High School, and then as a teacher consultant for the bilingual department.
So I want to point out real quick, I went to Riddle, I went to Gardner, I went to Eastern. I love all those schools. I'm a long-time Lansing person.
Thank you for being a Lansing graduate.
and I also want to say something. You say stuff like you're fortunate and that you were lucky or whatever, but I think we're super fortunate that you came into our community. So thank you for that.
You.
And
thank
again,
you.
I interrupted your flow, but
no, that's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Jerry, then another opportunity came as assistant principal at North Elementary in the Lansing School District. Stay very loyal to my district. This is an amazing district, and what we do in the Lansing School District is just unbelievable for all of the students and the staff in our district. And I started then as an assistant principal at North Elementary. And of course, I was still teaching at the RDC my night classes with my adult students, because that program, again, I had students who were 92 years old, and they were still coming to this country and learning and fighting for their future and a better education. And that just filled my heart, and I just couldn't leave that place. I just couldn't leave. And the principal at North Elementary, the winter break, she went into retirement. And was going through the entire process also, and I became the principal at North Elementary. At North Elementary, we had almost 600 students in that school, and one of the largest ESL programs in the district was housed in that school, and we grew up so fast, and the program was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, that the district had to make the decision, we need to find a bigger house for this program that we have in our district. And then the district was awarded another magnet grant from Magnet Schools of America, and we started this program at Gardner International Magnet School. I have been there for 3 full years now as the lead principal in the school, and we continue to build our bilingual program in that school. I love my school. I love my kids, and my teachers, my assistants, my staff. We are family. We are family. I mentioned to you earlier that you had the opportunity to interview just a few weeks ago one of my teachers in your show, Mrs. Shover. And this is what we do in the Lansing School District, and this is what we do at Gardner. We are family, and we do whatever we have to do to provide the best we can to our kids.
I'm immediately loyal to you just because you're associated with Gardner, because that was it was a junior high school at that time. Then it became a middle school, and now it's a whole magnet academy, right?
Yes, it is a magnet academy. We have over 900 students at Gardner. It's K through 8th. And our theme as a school is global education. Yeah. So we teach our students using, of course, the mandated curriculum that we have, but we align our curriculum with the 17 goals for sustainable development from the United Nations.
Oh, nice.
So come and visit anytime in our school when we open our doors again, hopefully next fall. It's a beautiful school, and it's an amazing program what we have been building.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of quick things. How many languages are spoken in the Lansing School District?
Oh, wow. We have over 50 languages spoken in the entire Lansing School District. And there are also many, many dialects, like let's say just one quick example, students who speak Burmese, we only know about Burmese because that is the code for the language that we can put in the system, right? But then students who are from Burma may not actually speak Burmese. They might speak Kachin or Karenni or so there are these amazing dialects, and that's the beauty of language and the beauty of mixing cultures together in one place. But we have over 50 languages and countries represented in the Lansing School District.
So I think that, we are such a better city because of the languages, because of the cultures, because of the people who immigrate here. The RDC is amazing. I've got a guest, or not a guest, but it's somebody who's watching, and he's just been smiling the whole show because every time someone shouts out the Lansing School District, his heart swells. And his mother is a teacher, by the way, in the LSD. So, again, thank you for coming to Lansing because you make us smarter. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, Dr. Rodriguez was my principal when I was at Gardner. So do you know all of the principals for the whole time?
Yes, of course. And Dr. Rodriguez, it's one of our board members, of course. And, he is just a walking encyclopedia about education. Any conversation that you have with Dr. Rodriguez will bring you so much knowledge. I have learned so much from him, and I am privileged again to have met Dr. Rodriguez also as part of my experience here in Lansing.
I think the advice there for anyone that ever gets to talk to him is keep your mouth closed and just listen. So Wow, what an amazing story. And what, I mean, you're the principal of Gardner now. That seems like such a big thing, but what a bet. You seem like you might be the best person in the entire world to be the principal for Gardner.
Thank you. Thank you very
So,
much. And it is Jerry again. It is not as much about me as it is about building that team of educators in our school. Gardner, I can't say this enough. And this happens in every single school in the Lansing School District. I can tell you that for sure. We actually build families in the school district. We do. We do build family, and we care for our students, but we care in the same way for our teachers and our staff and our community partners. I have one community partner that we have over 35 in our school. I can mention one that it's always hand by hand with us in every single thing that we do, and that is Trinity Church.
oh yeah.
And they are just amazing, fantastic partners. And whatever we need, we reach out to them, and they're gonna be there with us, all the time. Lansing is a community. You just said, the diversity that we have in this city, it's just unbelievable. But that's why we are a welcoming city.
Yeah.
That's why we are. And it's not only welcoming, those people who are newcomers to the country, is welcoming everybody in our community. Every single group in our community has a place in this city.
Excuse me. So I could stop here and call you a hero for 100 things that you've said, because you really are a hero to me. You are educating, you are welcoming, you are teaching, making sure that the people that don't speak English as their first language are being educated. But there's a bigger story now, and it's a little sadder story right now. Um, do you mind telling us about the story of your mother?
Yes, I can share the story. Well, again, as I said, we are from Cuba. My whole family is still back there. And my mother, who was also a teacher for over 20 years, had a brain tumor in 2015. So she was diagnosed with a meningioma, which is a benign tumor. And I had to travel to Cuba. I had to request a leave for about a month, and I had to travel to Cuba to take care of my mom. We are only two children in the family, my sister and myself. And when I got there to Cuba, I had to bring her to Havana. And I think I mentioned I am from the east side of the country, so I had to travel over 400 miles, to get to my mom to the best hospital in the country and to have her go through surgery. The surgery was a very, very long surgery. It was over 14 hours. The doctors in there did a craniotomy to, take the tumor out. And after the surgery was completed, the doctor always told me the surgery might go well, the surgery might not go as planned. All the risks that are involved, even in a very small procedure. But then he said, it doesn't matter how it goes. Your mom will go to the intensive care unit for about 3 to 4 days to recover. And then after that, she was going to be taken back to her room. So, thanks God. I do have to say that after 2 hours, when my mom wake up from surgery, or woke up from surgery, I did ask the doctor, can I go in there just to, hold her hand for a second and just give her a kiss, and then you can take her to the intensive care unit. And he did, okay, I'm going to do that for you too, my sister and myself. And we did. And as soon as we kissed, my mom, she opened her eyes, wide open, her eyes. And then she said, is it done already? So she started talking, and then she was like with so much energy that even the doctor was so surprised and he was in shock. And then he was like, how is this even possible? How is she talking and how is she laughing and smiling again and doing all of this? And then she didn't even have to go to the intensive care unit. So, and I believe that's because she has always been a very, very strong woman and with a lot of self determination. And, as I said in the Lansing State Journal, my mom always say, it doesn't matter the challenge that may come your way, you will face it and you will get through it. You just have to put your energy and your positive thinking and we'll get through it. So that's what I'm trying to tell myself every single day, every single day. My mom went through that surgery. She recovered very well. And after 5 years, unfortunately, she started having seizures. And I was very concerned, living here and having my mom there, having all these kind of health situations. And I told my sister we have to take her back to Havana, because she was discharged, a year after surgery. She was completely fine and she was discharged. So we took her back to Havana and the doctors saw her and they did an MRI and CT scan and all of those tests. And the doctor was like, well, we're going to adjust her treatment a little bit. We're going to give her anti-seizure medication at this time and see how that goes. However, it was not helping at all. My mom continued to have these seizures, and every single time she had seizure, she was losing more and more of her motor skills. And that was very concerning to me. So I traveled to Cuba and I took my mom once again to Havana and I interviewed with the doctor and I was honest to him. I poured my heart to him and I said, you gotta tell me exactly what's going on. I need to know what's happening. My mom continued to have these seizures and they are being longer than they were before. And, she's having a lot of side effects after these seizures. And unfortunately, in Cuba, it's not like, here in the United States, you call 911 and 5 minutes later, you have an ambulance in front of your house to take you to the hospital. That's not the case in Cuba. And we don't have cars in Cuba, not even to transport yourself, or whoever may need that to the hospital. We don't. At least in my family, we don't have a car in my family to do that. Um, so the doctor finally opened up with me and my sister, and he was like, I am very sorry. I was just trying to see, what was happening and just waiting for a little bit and see what we could do. But her tumor has come back. And it is a large tumor at this time. And I cannot do any surgical procedure here. And I was in shock, because I was like, how can you do a surgical procedure now? And then he said that there were too many risk factors, associated with the surgery. And again, as I said before, doctors in Cuba are amazing. They are knowledgeable. They have big hearts, but sometimes they don't have the resources that they need to work. And that's the case. That is not the technology that is needed to go into my mom's brain for a second time and perform this surgery. Also because of the location of the tumor this time. So, knowing me the way that I am, I was not going to be just waiting for my mom to die there. And I was like, I'm going to start exploring for options and I'm going to see what I can do for my mother, because she means the world to me. And I started looking for options here in the United States. And, humanitarian parole is a way that you can apply for a permission. It's legal permission to enter the country under certain circumstances. And an emergency, or one of those cases can be an emergency health situation that you might have, or the person that you're applying for might have. So I started going through that process, which is a very, very long, complicated, difficult process. But I put my application in, and I also reach out to the office of Senator Gary Peters, and I cannot thank them enough. One of their constituents, representative there, has been guiding me and helping me and giving me advice and providing the support that anybody might need during such a hard situation. Um, when I submitted the application, I had to submit the application not only for my mom as a patient, but also for my sister as a caregiver. My sister is also a teacher, and she had to quit her job as well to care for my mom.
Is she? She's a teacher in Cuba.
She's a teacher in Cuba, yes.
Okay.
And I applied for both of them, as a petitioner for both of them to come to the United States and receive medical treatment here. As part of the process, I had to identify a hospital, an institution, and a physician that will be taking care of my mom medical needs. That's part of the process, and they have to write down a statement that needs to be submitted to immigration as well. And I also have to prove to immigration that I had the financial resources to cover my mom's treatment in the United States. So I apply. It's the I-131 document that you submit to immigration. And the I-134 is the affidavit of support. And that is where you show all your financial resources to be able to support the applicant here, or the beneficiary in this case. Well, I submitted everything that I could. I submitted my income taxes for the last 3 years. I submitted a letter from my employer saying that I have a job and this is how much I make a year. I submitted, the credit available in credit cards that I have. I submitted my credit report because they want to look at that and see if you are also financially stable. I submitted the money available in my retirement account. I had to hire, a company, and they just came into my house to do an appraisal of my house and the value of the properties that I had inside my house, and all of that. However, immigration, when they review my application, they said we need more evidence. And then they sent me a list of evidence that I was supposed to submit to them for the case to be considered. And, I had to travel to Cuba again to get those evidence from the doctors in Cuba. And I had to translate all of that documentation, and I couldn't do it myself because I am her son. And even though I am certified to translate, I couldn't do that. So I had to go through a translation agency and translate all the summaries from doctors in Cuba, orders, MRI results, and all of that, plus letters of support that I gathered, many, many letters of support from people in Cuba and from people in the United States as well. And they reviewed the case, and then they sent me an intent to deny notice. And when I received that letter, I was at the doctor myself, going to an appointment for myself, and I just couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that there was an intent to deny my mom's case. Because my mom, even though I have asked her for many years to come here and just be here with me for a month as a visitor and just come here, and she's like, no, you better come to Cuba and then we all can see you. But if I go there, I am the only one who can see you. So you better come here and then you be with the whole family and friends here in Cuba. And when I saw that intent to deny, Jerry, I dropped completely. I was feeling that my entire body was going into a shock because it is the only opportunity to save my mother's life. And they said that they wanted to see liquid cash, either in my checking or my saving account, cover the cost for street. And I wish I had that kind of money in my checking and saving account, but I don't. I'm school principal and I have a very decent wage. However, as I said, my entire family is in Cuba and I support them all. And not only that, I also support my community as much as I can. And my kids and, everybody that I can offer help to. And I had to start gathering resources. The hospital, University of Michigan Hospital, agreed to give me a payment plan. So I had to make a deposit of $100,000 first up front in my mom's account in the hospital, and all the other medical expenses that are going to be part of that are going to be covered through a payment plan, but I only have a year to pay. And the cost of the surgery and treatment that she has to have to go through the surgery is about $200,000. And that does not count the possible rehabilitation that my mom will have to go through after surgery. So a very good friend of mine who has been, through this entire process with me, Sergio Keck, who is the director of special populations for the Lansing School District. He's my personal friend and coach as well, and mentor. He said, Ariel, we need to help you somehow. You have been helping a lot of people in this community for 14 years now. It is our time to give you back in the form of, helping your mom get this surgery. And I'm not gonna lie, it is very, very hard for me to do so because I don't think I have ever asked anything for me. I try to give as much as I can, but I ask a lot for myself. But he was like, this is the only way that you're gonna get, some people helping you, and you need to put your feet on the ground and you need to accept the help that we're gonna be offering you at this time. So Mr. Keck did that fundraising page in GoFundMe for my mom's surgery to, try to fundraise for part of the money that is going to go to pay towards her surgery here in the United States.
So I just want to point out to everybody that I put the GoFundMe in the comments for the show, so people should be able to see that. And I also want to point out that I'm super sorry that you're going through this. I mean, it's there's a couple things that are coming to my mind. One is healthcare should be a basic right. We have all of this global work happening in the sciences and the medical affair. And why are we doing it? To make money or to save people? And so I really like how noble your cause is. And, you make our city better. We owe you. I believe that 100%. You make us smarter. You make us look at things from a different angle. And your story up until the point of your mother, you're a hero to me. And now you're taking care of your mother. And now you're a hero even twice over. And I really want to just say I appreciate you. But on our countryside, two things. Medicare for all. It should be here, right?
I agree 100%. Mm-hmm.
We should save people.
Mm-hmm.
People are important, and nothing else really is when you come at the end of the day. And, I wish that our country was better at that. And I wish that we had more to offer. But again, us as individuals, we can make change, and we can donate $5, $10, $100, $5,000. Someone out there can donate $5,000 right now. So I want to point that out. The second thing is, you're talking about no soap, no supplies, no equipment. The embargo is still happening?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
It needs to stop, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What are your...
And there has to be a change also in the country, in Cuba. Because, this system has been there for 60 years. And again, as I said, I don't get too political because that is the reason why I left Cuba. You know, I left Cuba because I didn't agree with a lot of things, and even though I didn't agree with a lot of things, I didn't want to get in trouble, and I didn't want to, end up in prison, basically, uh,
Yeah.
because that's not me. But it's a whole combination of things, Jerry. It's a combination of the embargo, who is old, uh, an embargo that is very, very old, and it's not effective at all because the embargo doesn't hurt the Cuban government at all. It does not. The embargo hurts the Cuban people.
Yeah.
That's what it hurts. And the government in Cuba has to get ready to make big changes in the country as well. Big changes. There are amazing things in Cuba. I would be lying if I wouldn't recognize that, if I didn't recognize that. There are great things in Cuba, but there are some other things that, they don't work. Then
Right.
don't work. And then if there is not a strong economical foundation of a country, the country is not gonna make any progress. And those things have been missing in there for many, many years.
I've seen this. I used to spend a lot of time in Dubai and had a lot of Iranian friends. And the same exact thing, right? The embargo is super ineffective because it doesn't matter to the Iranian government, but it's
Mhm.
hurting the people.
Mhm.
And I just feel like we need to switch that around. No matter if Iran changes, if Cuba changes, that shouldn't matter to us. We shouldn't be hurting people.
Mhm.
And we certainly shouldn't be hurting the people that are coming into our community and making us so much better and so much stronger.
Mhm.
You're you're a hero, man. You are amazing.
Thank
And
you.
your mother must be amazing too. Your sister must be amazing too. I hope all of you come here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, so everyone, the GoFundMe, I put the link out there. I think it's very, very important. You see a lot of GoFundMe's and they get diluted by things, and some of them are not important, and some of them are very important. This one is very important, I think. You deserve it, and we deserve to have you. So thank you again. Now, I'm gonna kind of switch subjects a little bit more, but we can come back to this whenever you can.
Okay.
Um, but what's something you do every damn day to push this mission forward to basically save your mother?
Mhm. Well, one of the things that I do every single day, Jerry, I pray. I
Yeah.
pray the Lord because I am faithful that my mom can be healed, and the signs can do everything that it's available here in this country. But I do pray the Lord. I talk to friends and family. My family in this country is what's around me in the Lansing area. That's my family. My family is my staff in my school who have been supporting me every single day. Every single day. I could show you my cell phone and see how many text messages I get from teachers, assistants, custodians, public safety officers, counselors in the school, not only at Gardner but also in other schools in the Lansing school district. So that's my family here. Friends from the Refugee Development Center, that I haven't seen in years because they were interns at the Refugee Development Center and they have moved out of the state, out of town, and they are still in touch with us and they continue to support me, every single day. So my mom arrived safely here a week ago, and now my life has switched a little bit on my daily routines because again, I'm still working. We are still remotely in the Lansing School District, but we are working, and I have my responsibilities as a school principal that I have to obey by, and I have to meet all of my job duties as well as taking care of my mom. But my sister is also here with her, so we share the responsibility to care for my mom uh,
Mm.
as we have her here. um, but that's what my day looks like right now. I do my daily routines that we all do, and I continue to do my job the best I can, and I am caring for my mom. So that is the core of my life right now, going in those two directions, caring for my mom and continue to do my job the best I can.
I am so lucky as a host of this show to have somebody as amazing as you pop into my show like this. I can't emphasize enough how much I appreciate what you're doing for our city. And then you add your story for your mother and your sister, and what an amazing person you are. I
Thank you.
I think you're amazing.
Thank you. That comes from my mom. I can tell you that.
That we talked about that a little bit before the show. I said, I bet you your mom's an amazing person too.
Mhm.
And that, I don't know. It's just thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we'll come back a little bit more to this story and promote a little bit more, but we daisy chain the shows together, which means yesterday the person on the show has a question for you. And the question for you, and you can answer this from any perspective you like, whether from helping your mother or helping or being a principal at Gardner. But what do you do to make the community healthier?
Okay, so to make the community healthier, number one, we have to be an example to the community that we do it ourselves. That's
Mm.
number one. As an educator, because that's what I do, one of the expectations in my school and in many schools in the district is to keep our students and our staff, our visitors safe. That's, a big, big priority, and keeping everybody healthy is just, again, right there for us all the time. That's one of the things that we do. We teach the kids how they can be healthier every single day. We teach the kids, the importance of physical activities to keep healthy. We teach the kids the importance of nutrition to be healthy. We teach the kids so many ways that they can, practical ways that they can just implement on their daily routines to continue to be healthy. But I'd like to say also, what you just mentioned a few minutes ago, like Medicare for all.
Yeah.
That's a dream. That's a dream that we all want to see come true, because this is the only way to have those health services accessible to everybody. We are talking here about human beings. We are talking here about people who feel, people who breathe, people who need this health care to live. We are not talking here about a bicycle that if you got a flat tire, you go get it fixed and then you keep going, right? We are talking here about human beings. And that's a dream that, I'd like to see come true for sure.
Yeah. That and I'm 100% behind you. I want to see single payer. I want to see everybody not having to worry about things like this. I want to see immigrants that we need so desperately to make our country better have that same access to. And I know that's super controversial. I mean, they're making you show that you have enough money and all of that. That sounds like the opposite of the country that I want to represent and that I want to be. So thank you for fighting this fight too.
Mhm.
Because I know at the end of the day, you're probably going to be an advocate and an activist
Definitely.
to help save someone else's mother too.
Mhm.
So again, everybody put your thoughts or put Ariel's mother. What's your mother's name?
Miriam.
Maria.
Mhm.
Put Maria in your thoughts and get to that donor page if you can. I shared it again in the links, and anything that you can give will help. There's 100,000 of us in the city. We only need $2 from each of you. Actually, it's $100,000 goal. Here, is it? It should be 200,000.
Yeah, but I already deposited again the first 100,
Oh, okay.
and it's already taken care of.
So $1 from each of us would do it. $1 from everybody in the city for this amazing man who runs Gardner and is taking care of his mother. So, what more do you want? It's the American dream, right? Um, so we daisy chain the shows together. Yesterday on the show, I had Wesley Ma, who actually would be a great person for you to talk about. Or no. I'm sorry. I asked you that question already. That was from Wesley. The question for tomorrow is for Joe Fox, who is going to start selling fireworks. I think he might have already started, but going into the 4th of July. What would you like to ask Joe Fox about his fireworks company?
Okay, so that's definitely a business that is gonna get very popular in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And I would ask him, what is he doing to try to teach his customers to use the fireworks in a very, very safe way. Is he doing anything at all to promote safety for all of the customers that are walking in his store to buy his product?
Yeah. And so usually I turn the question around and ask you the same question, but you don't sell fireworks. So, I don't know. Do you have a fireworks safety at the Gardner?
We don't use them in the school.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so it's a matter of safety. If for any reason I would have to use fireworks at the school one day, of course, I will have to request for permission, and only professionals will do that.
Yeah. I guess what I mean though is maybe he could help Gardner give a flyer out as we approach the end of the year and people go in towards that or something.
Definitely.
But the question you had a student who had a bad experience with fireworks. Would you mind
Yes.
telling us that?
Yes, we did have a student who was with us for 1 year. Then the family decided to take the student to another area, another school in the area. But it was a year ago actually, and it was around the 4th of July, and he had an accident, and he actually lost his hand, one of his hands. And there is also a GoFundMe account for him. So even though I'm advocating for people also to help me with my mom's, I would say please go and check. I believe the title of that GoFundMe is A Hero Hand. And you're gonna see also many people in the Lansing School District also who contributed to that GoFundMe page. Because again, it was just a matter of an accident, but again, safety precautions need to be in place all the time.
I'm thinking that Joe's going to have a good answer, and that maybe him and I can collaborate on something to try to help with that. Because, yeah, that's also horrible. And again, you show what your character is by not only promoting your own, but you're mentioning this other. So even if it takes $20, $200, $2,000 from your campaign, it's still important to you.
It is. It is.
What is happiness to you? And are you happy?
I can tell you I am a little bit happier than I was a couple of weeks ago because of this roller coaster process of bringing my mom to the United States. And it was very, very stressful. And I believe I survived this process because of, the system of support that I have in the Lansing area. It was even very, very difficult just to get plane tickets for my mom to come to this country because of due to the pandemic. There are only 3 airlines flying to Cuba at this point, and there is only 1 flight per week, and everything is booked all the way through July. And when my mom was granted the humanitarian parole, that only lasts or is valid only for 30 days. So if she didn't leave the country in 30 days, the visa would expire then. So that was another very stressful situation. And, just to see my mom walking through the immigration doors on the arrival gate at the airport in Miami was just more than a blessing. So that gave me a lot of happiness, and that gave me a lot of hope that something good is going to happen for her. But happiness for me, I usually put everybody else before I put myself. But if I see people being happy, that makes me happy by default. When I see, you know, a smile on a kid's face, just because the kid is enjoying what we are doing for him or for her, that brings me a lot of happiness. When I get a message or an email saying like, "Hey, look at this! See what we did today in our classroom," that gives me a lot of happiness. Um, Family reunification is something also just because I have gone through that myself, and I know how hard it is to be away from family in the most difficult times. And not only the most difficult times, sometimes it's your birthday and you want to share with your family. And sometimes not always, you don't have that possibility to do so. And just seeing the way that this country is going right now, and trying to make sure that the country is organizing immigration, but there are families being reunited at this time, family who have been apart from each other with little kids for over 2 years. That brings me a lot of happiness and a lot of joy to my heart.
What gives you hope?
Hope, there is light at the end of the tunnel, as everybody says. uh, but I do believe in the human beings, and I do believe in the kind heart of people, people who you don't know, Jerry. And this GoFundMe page for my mom has given me a lot of hope. There are so many friends going into that page, but there are so many people that I don't know, but they are friends of friends or family. And the fact that they are contributing to make sure that my mom gets the treatment that she needs, that gives me a lot of hope also. The fact that we are getting out of this pandemic situation that we have been in for over a year now, that gives me hope also that when we stay together, we can be stronger. That gives.
So that you are so amazing. I want to give a couple numbers. So right now you're at $19,000 towards the $100,000 goal. 171 donors and followers, and 913 shares. So I just want to tell everybody out there, follow it, share it. If you can't donate yet, at least do something to promote it, because this is a person, a family who is making our community stronger. And like I said, a dollar from each of us would make such a difference. And if you don't use credit cards and you don't use online stuff or whatever, come bring your $5 to the Fledge and we'll put it all in one donation if you want. So this is important. It's a very, very important. What would you like to take us out with?
I'm sorry, you cut off. Say that again.
What would you like to say as like your final words? How would you like to take us out?
Well, first, thank you, Jerry, for inviting me to your show. I think I follow you also, and I watch your show because you bring amazing people from our community and people who make impacts in our lives as well. So, again, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you also to Erica for connecting me with you. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. I was writing a thank you note to one of the donors yesterday, and I was thinking, and I said, there are no words to express my gratitude for what you are doing for my mom, but there are, and the words are just thank you. Those are the words, and I can say that in Spanish, in English, in whatever language. I can say thank you, because that's my goal. My goal is to save my mother's life and or to improve her quality of life. That is my goal, and I I can just thank people enough for what they are doing for someone that they don't know, and that gives me hope. It's
Let,
taken today, from this conversation. You made me think about that, and this is actually giving me a lot of hope and a lot of joy. Mhm.
yeah, let's make this happen, crowd. So let's do 10 thank yous. So we got thank you, we got gracias, we got shokran, we have danka, we have
We have Danke.
danke. What else?
We have, do you say Namaste?
Oh, yeah.
Which is also a
Namaste.
way to thank. Do you say Shukran? You did,
I
Arabic.
did.
Mhm.
What do we have? Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Oh boy, I'm blanking right now.
Come on, we got to come up with three more. That's all. Come on, crowd. Tell us. Uh, sh- sh- how do you say it in Chinese? You say shing shing.
Shin,
Yeah,
Shin, yeah.
yeah. So what else? What's another language? Italian. It must grazie.
Grazie.
And cheers in Great Britain.
Cheers. Mhm.
All right, we got to 10. So all the kids in the Lansing School District should be able to give us 80 ways to tell us thank you, right?
They will. Mhm.
You are amazing, my friend.
Thank
You,
you.
I, how I don't know. I feel how lucky Gardner is, how lucky the Lansing School District is, and how lucky Lansing is that we have immigration and we have these pathways to bring people like you to our uh, country, our state, and our city. And anybody that's ever been against immigration, you're wrong. Because here's an example right here of how our country gets better every single day from letting people from other countries come in.
and
Thank you,
also
sir.
and also Jerry, because of what we learned from this country, because I'm telling you, the experiences I have had here in the Lansing community, they inspire me to keep going every single day, to keep going. Lansing is just an amazing community. It is. And you just go out there and you learn so much from the people who live in this community, that you get an international experience right here without taking any flights and going anywhere. You know, so
Yeah.
thank you to the Lansing community also for their support, and you know, uh, every single word of empowerment and encouragement, and all my gratitude to you all.
All right.
And I wish
I
I could, have my mom right here next to me, but she's very weak at this time. She's just resting upstairs, and she's very, very weak. But we go back to the hospital tomorrow for more testing.
All right. So we're all going to be able to meet her someday. So thank you so very much. All right, everyone. Every damn day at 2 p.m. Thank you for being on the show. It was so nice to meet you and get to know you. And everybody, come on, support Ariel and his mother, Maria, please. So we'll see you tomorrow on Every Damn Day, 2 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.